shopgear.com.
The following is a presentation of the Gear Radio Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Perez. You're listening to the Better Live Than Dead podcast.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to episode 141 of the Better Live Than Dead podcast.
Episode 141.
Powered by Better Live Than Dead and the Gear Radio Network. You can hear the Better Live Than Dead podcast and all Better Live Than Dead podcasts on betterlivethandead.com, iTunes, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, and wherever you can listen to your podcasts. If you can't get it there, let us know and we will get it there. Also, real quick before I introduce the cast of characters on today's podcast, Better Live Than Dead is now an affiliate of Rise Supplements, a gym supplement brand based right out of Buffalo, New York. You can head over to Rise Subs, that's RYSESUPPS.com. Use the code RWOLF, that's RWOLFE, 9510 to receive 10% off your order. If you don't remember that link, you can also go over to betterlivethandead.com. Scroll down on the right side. You'll see the Rise Supplements logo. Click on that and go directly to their website. With that being said, I am Ryan Wolfe at WolfeBLTD on Twitter, joined on the IndyCar Media Hotline by Mr. Perez at MRLG Perez. Lewis, how you doing today?
Yo, man, I am doing well. Thank you very much. You know, just got off of work, relaxing, doing a little podcasting with you, having a cigar. Can't complain, man. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. I appreciate it. Out of work, home. It's hot out. It was 84 degrees in my house when I got home. I guess that's the perks of not having central air. But turn some fans on, turn the ceiling fans on, turn the AC units on. It'll be cool here soon. What I'm looking forward to after the podcast, that is, going outside, sitting on my hammock, and reading a book. That sounds like a perfect evening for me.
Yeah, that sounds great.
I'm not mad about it. But hey, we call this podcast the MLB All-Starcast. Why do we do that? Be more than happy to tell you. This is all about baseball today. We love to talk about baseball. We love to talk about the happenings around the league. And hey, it just so happens the unofficial midpoint of the baseball season, being the All-Star break, is currently on the back nine. It's almost over. But the All-Star game, Home Run Derby, we'll talk about that in just a moment. But we're going to run down. Usually we do three big things. This week, we're doing four things. Four topics that we want to gloss over real fast and talk about throughout the world of baseball. So, Lewis, without any further ado, let's jump in head first. Now, for me, the first thing I love to look at every season, and I like to keep an eye on, the award season. And with it being, like I said, the All-Star break, a lot of people are mocking the award seasons. The best one I saw out there, theringer.com, they picked their winners. I'm going to share them with you, Lewis. I'll go through AL, NL, and then we'll talk about it, and then we'll do AL, NL, talk about it, so on and so forth, all the way down, so there's no confusion. So we'll start off at the top. The American League MVP, no surprise, Mike Trout of the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. 301 batting average, 28 home runs, 67 RBIs, 5.9 wins above replacement. In the National League, they have Cody Bellinger of the Dodgers winning the MVP, midseason MVP. No surprise there either. A 336 average, 30 home runs, 71 runs batted in, and a 6.6 WAR. Lewis, any surprises so far for you?
Not really. Not really. I feel like those two players are, you know, they're always in the talk. They're always in the run. You know, they're always right there, and they're both playing at a high level right now. So, no, I'm not really surprised by this.
I was going to say me either, really, honestly. Like we said last podcast, death taxes and Mike Trout. If he's not in the race, the season is not a season yet. And Cody Bellinger, red hot to start off the season. His batting average has tailed off a little, but he's still hitting the ball for power. Still, I believe he leads the league in WAR as well, so he's the most valuable player in that aspect as well. Now, moving on to the pitching side of things, the Cy Young Award. American League, Charlie Morton of the Tampa Bay Rays, 10-2 this year, Lewis, so far. 2.32 ERA, a 3.8 WAR, wins above replacement. In the National League, this one's a little more controversial. Not super controversial, but maybe not the pick of everybody. Max Scherzer of the Washington Nationals, 9-5. The record's not great, but a 2.30 ERA, 181 strikeouts, which he is leaps and bounds above the rest of the National League, and I believe most of Major League Baseball with those 181 strikeouts. And he also has He also has a 5.5 wins above replacement. When it comes to those two, Charlie Morton and Max Scherzer, Lewis, what do you think about that?
You know, they Tampa Bay, they've been surprisingly good this year. And he's been lights out. He's got a great record. He made the Yankees look super silly the other day. And I agree with that one. As far as Max Scherzer, I agree it is kind of surprising, but when you have that many strikeouts and when your ERA is 2.3, you know, he's in the hunt. Those are great numbers. And you would think with a 2.3 ERA, he would have a better win-loss record. But yeah, no, I think these two are very, very good people to be right there.
I mean, the other name that people were talking about, which you'll probably continue to hear about the rest of the season, is the Dodgers starting pitcher Hyunjin Ryu. I always say his name wrong, but you know who I'm talking about. He's 10-2 right now with a 1.73 ERA. He's been roughed up last couple starts, I think, let me check his game log real fast. He had a good start against the Padres before the All-Star break, but he faced the Colorado Rockies, 4 innings, 7 runs, 3 home runs. Not a good showing for him there, but he has 10 wins. Scherzer has 9 wins. Ryu is on track to go 18-4 according to ESPN's projections. Max Scherzer, this is what's wild. He's projected to throw 235 1/3 innings this season, a 2.30 ERA. 16-9 is the record they have for him, but they're projecting him to hit 329 strikeouts this season.
That would be bananas.
He's unreal. Let me see.
He really is.
And let me see here really fast.
That's just a whole lot of strikeouts.
If he was to get 329 strikeouts in a season, he would rank 32nd all time. But since, let me see, Randy Johnson had 334 in 2002. Nolan Ryan had 341 in 1977. Randy Johnson had 347 in 2000. So Randy Johnson's really the strikeout king here. But a lot of these numbers they predate the modern era. So Max Scherzer could be in very incredible company there if he hits 329 strikeouts. Now, moving over to the Rookie of the Year, the American League Rookie of the Year, they have John Means of the Baltimore Orioles. 7-4 record, 2.5 ERA, and 82 2/3 innings pitched, 18 games pitched, 14 of those being starts. And in the National League Rookie of the Year, they have Pete Alonso of the New York Mets, recently of the All-Star Game champion, Pete Alonso, I should say, or the Home Run Derby champion, I apologize. 280 average, 30 home runs, 68 runs batted in, a 4.0 wins above replacement. What are you thinking about these, Lewis?
I like them both. Alonso has been a shining star in what has been a dismal season for the Mets. So I think he's a good candidate. John Means for Baltimore, I got to be honest with you, he's got, pretty decent numbers. As a rookie to be 7-4 right now, I would say that's pretty good with a 2.5 ERA. I've seen other rookies come in and get touched up a little bit more. So
especially pitching for Baltimore.
Right now, especially pitching for Baltimore. So I think right now those are two good candidates.
Yeah, I think if you have a winning record and you have a good ERA and you pitch for the Baltimore Orioles, you're doing something right. I believe right now, actually, too, this might not benefit him in any stretch, but as I load my MLB at Bat app, I should have looked this up before the podcast, but hi, if you know me, this is not how we roll here sometimes. Baltimore has 27 wins, 7 belong to John Means, so that's That's impressive.
It's a good thing they got him.
Exactly. And Pete Alonso, I mean, enough said about him. Real good power hitter. The Mets have a star in the making in Pete Alonso, in my humble opinion here. Now, moving over the last two categories, the last category we're going to talk about, the last two award winners. American League Manager of the Year, Rocco Baldelli, 56 and 33 in his first year as a manager, obviously first year of managing the Twins. And then the National League Manager of the Year, they have Dave Roberts of the Los Angeles Dodgers. They are 60 and 32, best record in the majors. And Lewis, thoughts on these guys?
You know what? I really don't have any thoughts on them. I think they're I think they're good. The Dodgers are playing exceptionally well right now. We all know that they have the capability to get to the World Series. They haven't been able to close it out. But the way that he has his team playing right now, yeah, absolutely. And as far as the Twins go, they've been excellent. I've enjoyed watching them play. They got a nice young squad. So yeah, I know he's done a good job getting those players to play a little better than I think people were expecting them to do. So I like these two too.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that Rocco Baldelli has done an incredible job.
No, I agree with you. I think he's done a great job. But does the narrative change if the Yankees win the World Series this year?
Which narrative?
The Manager of the Year.
No, because I think at this point it's one of those things again where, where you look at it and you think to yourself, okay, like last year, for instance, you look at a team like the Red Sox and you see Alex Cora and you go, okay, yeah, he didn't win Manager of the Year because you have a good team you're expected to win. With the Twins, who had the Twins this good? Who had Rocco Baldelli being the key piece to the puzzle that was missing in Minnesota?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
I mean, that's how I look at it. I get it. I felt like the Yankees are probably expected to be very good, which in the National League, it kind of looks, you look at it and you see, oh, well, then why would Dave Roberts win again? But the Dodgers are just leaps and bounds better than everybody in the National League.
Yes, they really are. I'm just thinking about the fact that while the Yankees were beat up, they did a very good job of keeping their, the wins going.
Absolutely. I mean, he'll get votes for sure. Aaron Boone will for sure get votes, but I think that it's probably, if the Twins continue and win the division, that Rocco Baldelli will probably be the American League Manager of the Year.
Very possible. Very possible.
Now I want to talk.
Oh,
absolutely. He would deserve it 100%. Now I want to, Lewis, talk about the events of Monday evening.
The home run derby was bananas.
It really will show us, it really does show us that the future of baseball is going to be all right. Now, first off the top, we had a rookie versus rookie in the home run derby final. Pete Alonso defeated Vladimir Guerrero Jr. 23-22 in what really was the best home run derby I think I've seen in a very long time. And then in the semifinal, which is really what everybody's talking about, Vlad Guerrero Jr. versus Jock Peterson of the Los Angeles Dodgers, Vlad Guerrero Jr. of the Toronto Blue Jays. A round for the ages, really. 40-39 was the final tally. I believe Vlad Guerrero Jr. ended up hitting, 91 home runs on Monday night. 40-39 was the final tally of the round. They were tied 29-29 after regulation. Tied after the first 60-second swing-off, they both had 8 home runs. Then tied in the first 3-swing swing-off, 1 home run each. And then Guerrero won in the second 3-swing swing-off, 2-1. Now, Lewis, being a Yankees fan, myself being a Red Sox fan, we are neck deep in the American League East, obviously. Vlad Guerrero Jr. being a member of the Toronto Blue Jays, also in the AL East, at least for the next 7 or 8 years, or 6 to 8 years. I can't remember how the contract stuff works, but are you worried? Because you figure that Vlad Guerrero Jr. will most likely stay with Toronto, say he does stay for there his entire career, plays, the next 20 years or whatever. Are you worried about Vlad Guerrero Jr. being in the American League East for the next at least almost 2 decades and just watching him tear apart the American League East?
Well, sure. I mean, I'm a little worried about it, but it's going to be fun to watch. And let's be honest, if they don't get, some great position players around him, I'm not really too concerned about them. But he is going to be an absolute monster and enjoy to watch. So I don't even care. Like, sure, I'm not going to enjoy watching them hit home runs off of the Yankees pitchers, but they're probably going to be some pretty monstrous home runs, which is awesome.
Yeah, look, I'm a big fan of massive home runs, but like you said it, you can have the great player, but if you don't put a team around Vlad Guerrero Jr., it's not going to matter, I don't think.
No.
He'll go out and bat. He'll go out and bat 300 and hit 45 home runs, but if your pitching staff can't stop a nosebleed, what are you doing?
Right, and let's be honest, if you don't put players around him at the end of his first contract, he's probably going to bow. He's probably going to bounce out.
It's quite possible. I mean, especially what's not to say in, the end of his contract, 6, 7, 8 years, the Expos are back in Montreal.
Right.
Maybe Vlad Guerrero Jr., I mean, he would be a hometown kid in Montreal because he was born in Quebec. He was born in Montreal while his father played for the Expos. That would be crazy. That would be a lot of fun. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but, it's always nice to dream. That's for sure.
That would be fun. And the home run derby, while he lost, if Vlad Guerrero Jr. hadn't been involved in that monstrous semifinals, he may not have lost that because Alonso only hit like 14 in his first round and won.
Yeah, so, absolutely. I mean, it was definitely, it played out well. A lot of people said that, not a lot of people, but some people said that Vlad Guerrero Jr. did not belong there. I think he did a very good job showing that he belonged there. I also think that it showed that Major League Baseball has figured the home run derby out because that's a lot of fun. Having the amount of swings worked, but having time, watching Vlad Guerrero Jr. just launch 6, 7, 8 home runs in a row, just nailing them back to back to back to back to back on consecutive swings was absolutely incredible. And I think that's something that down the line, if they continue to do it like that, I think that they have themselves quite the event there for sure.
I agree. And what I really liked about it is you could tell that Vlad and Jock were actually really enjoying themselves too. They were cheering for each other, which is awesome. It was fun to watch.
And they were absolutely getting into it too. You could tell. I mean, maybe even the $1 million, that was also hilarious too. The $1 million prize for the winner is almost double the amount of money the guy makes in the entire season. He wins in one night. So that could also add to the competitiveness as well. That maybe we won't be seeing a lot of actual already minted stars, but we'll start to see maybe some more younger guys like Pete Alonso, like Vlad Guerrero Jr. in the home run derby for years to come. So that'll be a lot of fun to watch as well.
I agree.
Now, another thing I want to talk with you about today, Lewis, is the controversy that has been heating up all season, but kind of came to a head this past week at the All-Star break. The talk of juiced baseballs this season is our third big thing. Now, for those of you who don't know, it's kind of clear as day, which I'll throw some statistics your way and some quotes from some pitchers here in just a moment. The ball's different this year. Just to put it plain and simple, it's traveling further, being hit, or say it's being hit further. It's traveling further. That's the same thing. But the makeup of the ball apparently feels different. Now, Dr. Meredith Willis wrote over at The Athletic back on June 25th, quote, players are on pace to hit 6,618 home runs. That's 1,000 more than last season's 5,585 home runs and 500 more than 2017's all-time high of 6,105 home runs. At least 13 of Major League Baseball's 30 teams are in position to break franchise records this season. 21 players are expected to hit more than 40 home runs. Now, as mentioned, batted balls are also traveling further. The article said, quote, in 2018, only 82 home runs surpassed 450 feet. As of June 25th, the time of the article, that number already at 84 home runs that have surpassed 450 feet. Now, Lewis, if you're not sold yet, let me go a little further here. Major League Baseball pitchers themselves have noted a change in the makeup of the ball as well. Earlier this season, Mets pitcher Noah Syndergaard said, quote, "Watch a video of a dog trying to pick up an ice cube. That's what it was like." I presume, obviously, that was the end of the quote, but that's what it was like trying to pitch with the baseball. Nationals closer Sean Doolittle said the baseballs, quote, "feel real slick. There's been several times where I've gotten one. I haven't even thrown a pitch with it. It just really didn't feel right in my hand. Tossed it out and got a new ball." And then Astro starter Justin Verlander told ESPN this week, quote, "If any other $40 billion company bought out a $400 million company and the product changed dramatically, it's not a guess as to what happened. We all know what happened. Rob Manfred, the first time he came in, what did he say? He said, we want more offense. All of a sudden he comes in, the balls are juiced. It's not a coincidence. We are not idiots," end quote. Also, one more thing before I get your thoughts here, Lewis. Major League Baseball PA President Tony Clark was quoted as saying, quote, "I believe the ball suddenly changed, and I don't know why." Lewis, your thoughts on the juice baseball conspiracy theory that has taken the game by storm?
Well, you know what? I've seen some pictures of the balls, and they do look slightly different than they did before. The seams or the stitching are not quite as pronounced. Does that make a huge difference? I don't really know. I'm not a professional baseball player, so I'm not sure exactly how that would change the trajectory or the power of a ball leaving the park when you hit it. But they do look different. I do know that. I have seen the pictures. And let's be honest, to me, are they juiced? Maybe. I can't say. Do I care if they're juiced? No, not really. And the reason for that is simply because I'm enjoying watching this. Are there a lot of home runs going out? Yes, there is. Do I care that there's a lot of home runs going out? No, I don't. I'm actually really enjoying this. So if the balls are juiced, the balls are juiced. Now, at the same time, I do enjoy defensive games, good pitched games. So it does detract a little bit from that. And I would like to see a couple games where it's like a 1-0, 2-0, 2-1. So maybe it should be looked into. Maybe it shouldn't. That's my opinion on it.
I think if they're not gonna fix the problem, and this is the new way for Major League Baseball, they at least need to admit up and man up to what they've done. The fact that you're going to sit here and tell professional baseball players who honestly their livelihood depends on this. So, if a guy goes out and gives up a bomb and keeps giving up bombs because the way he was pitching before it doesn't work all of a sudden because they've changed the makeup of the baseball, then, it's something where at least Major League Baseball has to say, hey, look, this is something we're doing. We're changing it up. This is how we're going to introduce more offense into the game, essentially adapt or die. But, I mean, I know they said back in 2017 they changed the laces on the ball. They had them a little higher.
Right.
Some people have mentioned maybe the ball is stitched a little tighter so it travels further, or they just have, you can change the inside of the core of the ball to change the makeup a little, make it react a little differently. We don't know. But I do believe that either we're going to see home runs start to go down and and it's just going to go back to normal, or something's got to give where someone's got to say something and say, hey, you know what? Yeah, things are different. Here's why. And then go from there. And it really, honestly, it brings me to my fourth and final point of the podcast this week. The Major League Baseball and the Major League Baseball's Player Association, Major League Baseball Player Association, the rhetoric is heating up. So with June 18th, it was reported Major League Baseball and the PA launched bargaining talks ahead of the expiration of the current collective bargaining agreement at the end of the 2021 season. And things like this will be a different baseball. There's going to be discussions about that. Major League Baseball, MLBTradeRumors.com also writes, quote, Ever since the last basic agreement was handed out, readily discernible changes in teams' market behavior have spurred growing unhappiness from the players' side. So that, for instance, is just talking about once the CBA was agreed to, teams, all of a sudden, it seems like teams are colluding against players and players are being forced to take smaller contracts because the teams are working together to make sure players don't have huge contracts. Also, when speaking to Tyler Kepner of the New York Times, Major League Baseball PA or MLB PA president Tony Clark flat out said, quote, either we are going to have a conversation now or we're going to have a louder conversation later. Now, the PA wants to restore what they call, quote, a competitive environment and, quote, meaningful free agency. Tony Clark wants to get players something closer to their value as they are producing it, which points to the current structure of a player getting close to the league minimum until they have 3 years of MLB service time before becoming eligible for salary arbitration. Clark also said the union, quote, wants the best players on the field at all times, seemingly a shot at teams who have consistently held back top prospects to delay eligibility for salary arbitration and free agency. So, lot to digest there. But, Lewis, there's a big fight on their hands, both Major League Baseball and the Players Association, because honestly, last time the CBA happened, it's safe to say that the PA didn't get much and Major League Baseball got a lot.
Major League Baseball did get a whole lot. They did. And, you know, while we say the players didn't get much, I mean, salaries are still pretty large. But you don't like to see a team not field the best players at all times. You don't want to see a team holding back top prospects to delay their eligibility. That's not cool. You don't want to see someone get screwed out of a good free agency. So, you know, I can understand where Tony Clark is coming from. We would like to see something, as he said, closer to their value as they're producing it. The league minimum, how much did you say the league minimum is?
I think it's around $550.
You know, that's a decent chunk of change for someone just coming into the league. Now, granted, they are playing like 180 games a season, and the games are very close back to back. So maybe that could be raised a little bit. But I don't know. I have an issue with teams not fielding the top talent. So there definitely needs to be conversation.
I think a lot of it's going to end up being they need to pay minor league baseball players a higher wage, because at the end of the day, it's not affordable for those players to be making $30,000-$40,000 a year in playing baseball.
Right.
I mean, granted, I know someone may say, "Oh, it's tough. Get a real job," you know, but it's professional baseball. You should be paying them a livable wage, if nothing else. When it comes to Major League Baseball, I know Tony Clark has mentioned stuff like eliminating the draft, which will never happen, or instituting an international draft, because the way that teams are snaking their way around, how you've got teams trading. Here's a relief pitcher that we're going to trade you, like what the Yankees did, for instance, recently, which I'm not just singling them out because I don't like the Yankees very much, but I'm singling them out because they literally just did this. You go out, you trade a player, you get some international money, and then you take all the bonus money you had plus your money, and then you go sign the best free agent the best international free agent out there, 16-year-old kid who's expected to be a freaking monster. I mean, that's a competitive advantage right there. You look at meaningful free agency like Tony Clark had mentioned. The problem right now is that teams don't want to pay aging stars like they used to. They don't even want to bring them in, for that matter. I mean, you've got players who teams own their rights for so long, and then it gets to the point where, you know, a player either is past his prime by the time that it comes to getting a big deal, or, you know, he's out of the league, or whatever it may be. But it doesn't seem fair. It seems like the team has too much control, and that in the franchise side, way too much control of the players and their rights. Maybe that'll have to change as well. But I mean, this is going to be. It's good to see that they're amicable. It's good to see that they're willing to have a conversation.
Right.
But because obviously we've seen enough labor disputes with basketball, with football, with hockey, that it can get real ugly real quick and things can go downhill very fast. But the fact that they're at least open to having a conversation, to saying, hey, this is what we're looking for. And then the Major League Baseball says, yep, this is what we are looking for. And then they try to find a common ground and go from there. That's good news. But I don't think the PA is afraid to have a lockout if necessary to get what they want because, it's become the parity between ownership and players has become very evident over the past few years, and something's got to change. Absolutely.
I agree. And the last thing we want is a lockout. I hate when that type of stuff happens. The last one lasted way too long.
The last one cost the Expos the World Series.
Yeah, it really did. So hopefully,
which who knows if they had, if they had won that World Series, maybe they would have stayed in Montreal. We don't know.
That's true. It's possible. It's very possible.
I just kind of fell down a black hole in my brain there for a second. So, wow. I was like, well, wait, what if that did happen? And then I just kind of got lost there for a second. But hey, I always love chatting baseball with you, Lewis. It's always a fun time, and it's good to jump into some juicy topics like what we've seen for sure.
I always enjoy talking baseball with you also.
Now, I want to mention real quick, AL East, the Yankees lead 6.5 games over Tampa. Minnesota has a 5.5 game lead over Cleveland. Cleveland has won 6 straight. They're kind of making a run for it, but Minnesota's offense is still unreal. Houston has a 7.5 game lead over Oakland in the West. In the National League, Atlanta, 6 game lead over Washington. In the NL Central, the most exciting race of them all, the Cubs have a half game lead over Milwaukee. St. Louis is 2 back. Pittsburgh 2.5 back. Cincinnati 4.5 back. In the West, it's pretty much over. The Dodgers 60-32 have a 13.5 game lead over the Diamondbacks. Looking at the wild card, you've got Tampa and Cleveland in the play-in game. Oakland a game and a half back of Cleveland. Boston 2 games back. Texas 3 games back. And then in the National League, the wild card, Washington versus Philadelphia. You've got Milwaukee a half game back. Arizona a game and a half back. San Diego, St. Louis 2 back. Colorado, Pittsburgh 2.5 back. And then it gets a little deeper from there. So we will get back to you in a couple weeks with a baseball cast. We've got football coming up at the end of the month. We'll be talking some football soon. Hockey will be back in the next few months. Figure things start to get crazy around late August, so we'll talk about that soon. So, Lewis, I appreciate you joining me. Also, make sure I'll throw the cheap plug. Make sure you check out Project Transformation over at the Gear Radio Network as well. We'll be jumping on that again here soon. Lewis is at MRLG Perez. I am at Wolf BLTD on Twitter. We are better live than dead.
You're not.
We will catch you sometime very soon.
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Perez. Project Transformation is not just about my weight loss, but it's also about the people who are supporting me in my weight loss and your journeys. And frankly, it's not going to be just about my weight loss journey. Throughout this, I want to highlight people in the community that are making changes and transforming the community themselves. So it's not going to be just my transformation, but it's the community's transformation. I'm inviting you to walk with me only on the Gear Radio Network.